Well, good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I guess it's afternoon for almost everybody on here. Another series of our value add webinars that North American is putting on for those of you to help you in this kind of new environment that we're working in, and we think it's really important that we kind of give you some of these tools that helps you maybe expand your presence a little bit. We know that we're all experts at annuities or life insurance or the financial services industries, but sometimes it's good to bring in these outside experts that can come in and help us, again, do a better job of reaching more clients. And so with that, today, my name is Bryce Bicklin. I am the Chief Distribution Officer for North American on the annuity side. On the annuities, as well as North American Life is co-sponsoring this webinar. I'm extremely excited that we have a guest speaker, Katrina Rieger, with Blue Compass. We've used Blue Compass in the past as an expert that's kind of in that social media web space that's out there. And Katrina is the digital marketing manager at Blue Compass. She enjoys helping advance the online presence of their clients by taking kind of an integrated and comprehensive digital marketing approach. A passion for learning, she continues to stay up to date on all the latest changes and best practices in the digital marketing space, social media, as well as all the kind of the different platforms. So she's going to spend some time talking about some of the more tried and true platforms where they really see some benefits to spending some time and creating a better presence. And really expanding the scope of what she does. So with that, I want to welcome Katrina. Real quick before I do, I want to remind everybody that it is social media. You still do want to make sure that you adhere to the advertising regulations and company guidelines as well if you're a registered rep, your broker-dealer guidelines. Also, we do have an opportunity for some questions. So if you do have a question that pops up during this presentation, please feel free to put it in there. We will attempt to get to them as many as we can towards the end. We have left a little bit of time at the end. So with that, I want to welcome Katrina. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Bryce. We are excited to get started today. If you would like to access any of the handouts from today's presentation or access any of the materials that we reference as we go, the website address bluecompass.com/improve-social will have all of these attachments for you. And in the handouts portion of GoToWebinar, you can also download the handout that's available on that web page as well. So now that we have housekeeping out of the way, we are going to go ahead and get started. And today we're talking about 8 ways for you to reach current and potential clients via social media. So there's tons of options of social platforms out there. There's tons of best practices. So we're just going to dive into what are the 8 things that are actionable for you to take care of and get started with today as you start to use or continue to advance your social media presence. So the first thing we want to do is really talk about how you can strategically select your social platforms. We also want to make sure that you're bought into the idea of social media and utilizing social media for your professional advancement. So as we talk about this, the first question we normally get if anybody's skeptical is, are all ages still on social media? We heard that millennials are leaving all of the normal social media platforms. They're only using TikTok or they're only using Snapchat, and that is just not the case. Every age group out there is still on social media. Another question we get is Facebook dying off? Facebook is absolutely not dying off. For example, there are people who we like to call in the office closet Facebookers. For example, I'm 29 years old. I have Facebook. I log in and check it every day. I got to see what my mom's up to. I have to see what my grandma's doing. I have to see what's happening with my family, but I do not post or comment very often on the platform. That doesn't mean I'm not there. That doesn't mean I'm not consuming media from the platform. So never fear. Everybody is on social media, and we can find the best platform for you to connect with your specific target audience. There are tons of options available. Today we could talk about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn. There's a bunch more that I'm not even thinking of off the top of my head today, but instead of doing a high-level overview on each, we really want to focus today on LinkedIn and Twitter. And why would we pick those 2 platforms? your specific audience is on LinkedIn. 49% of US adults that make over $75,000 use LinkedIn as one of their primary social media platforms. 50% of internet users that have a college degree or higher level of education are using LinkedIn on a regular basis. And we're not just talking about have an account, we're talking about active users on the platform that are regularly logging in, regularly posting, commenting, and being active on the platform. 4 out of 5 people on LinkedIn drive business decisions within their place of employment or within their workplace. So we know that LinkedIn has a quality audience available for you, and not just having the people, but how can we make that convert for you? How can we help you utilize the audience that's captive and available on LinkedIn? LinkedIn conversion rates. So we're talking about phone calls, we're talking about website visits, form completions, direct messages, anything that gives you a direct connection to that audience occurs 3 times more often than other major ad platforms on LinkedIn. So other ad platforms cover everything from other social media accounts to Spotify, Pandora, Hulu, and other digital advertising opportunities. So with that higher conversion rate, this is a good place for you to start your efforts and start considering utilizing social media. We also know that LinkedIn has an inherent trust with it. 70% of users say that LinkedIn is the most trusted social media platform, has the most trustworthy news, has the most trustworthy algorithm, user interface, everything about LinkedIn just has that trust level with users. And being in the financial industry, that's incredibly important for you guys. We've heard headlines over the last 2 years about fake news. How is Facebook involved with that? With all of that hype, we need to be careful about where you're putting your trusted news and your trusted resources. So that's another reason that we're today recommending LinkedIn to you guys as financial professionals with North American. But that being said, we don't want you to discount Twitter. Twitter is going to be a good option for you as well. The users that are on Twitter, they might average a little bit younger than LinkedIn. So depending on what age demographic you're looking for, Twitter might have that slightly younger audience. They also are more highly educated and wealthier than the general public. So as you're talking about who you want to establish connections with, who you might want to be reaching out to for potential clients, Twitter is also a good option for you. Twitter is a little bit easier when it comes to how to post with the shorter character counts, shorter opportunities available for words. It just makes it easier to post. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit less time commitment but still has good impact, Twitter might be a better option for you than LinkedIn. So as you're making that decision and you're strategically picking where you can have the best impact, we also want you to start thinking about and recognizing the purpose of your social media efforts. You could go in and you could post anything you want. We could be talking about dogs. We always make jokes that images of dogs and babies always perform best no matter what industry we're in. But we want to make sure that as you're posting on social media, it aligns with what you need as a North American financial advisor and financial professional. So some of the main goals that people utilize social media for, and then based on that goal, what should you be looking at for metrics? What should you be considering as you're developing your post copy and setting your goals? The first goal is to just grow your brand. Do we need to gain more awareness and really grow your personal brand or your business brand via social media? Next step would be to drive sales or conversions. At the end of the day, we know you guys need to bring in more leads. We need that to drive the bottom line. So sales and conversions are available from social media. Sometimes we have clients come in and say, we don't think that we want to use social media at all because there's no sales opportunity there. And today we're going to myth bust that and make sure you understand the ways that we can drive those sales from both LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social media platforms. The next goal that we like to encourage you guys to think about is improving your customer retention. We really want to make sure that once somebody starts working with you, you remain top of mind, you're still available to them, and social media is another way that they can access you within their daily routine that they already have. And last is turning your customers into advocates. In 2020, word of mouth is still very important from an advertising perspective, and there's ways that you can get that from your current customers on social media as well. So going back to the top, as we talk about growing our brand, when we're doing that, we're looking for awareness. And the specific metrics that we would look at for that would be followers, shares, impressions, views, anything like that that's going to tell us how many people were we able to reach with our social posts and reach with our messages. When we're talking about driving sales or conversions, we're going to want to be sending people back to a website potentially. So those website clicks, form completions, phone calls, direct messages within the platform are all great options for driving sales or conversions. Improving customer retention. Here we're going to be thinking more about gathering and sharing testimonials and reviews. If you have testimonials and reviews from other platforms that have been emailed to you, however you've received those in the past, maybe Google perhaps, you can always utilize those and share those on social media. People are wondering what your current customers are saying about you. Drop it in an image, have an image of a customer, have your image on there. If you don't have permission to share a customer's image, there's always ways that you can utilize that testimonial copy and share it from your brand as well. And then turning customers into advocates. We're going to talk a lot about the algorithms that funnel both LinkedIn and Twitter as we continue through the presentation today. But a big basis of that is interactions that you're getting on your posts. So comments, likes, tags, mentions, anything like that where they are engaging with you. And they're also going to be driving the potential impressions, and the additional algorithm updates that you can get for these posts is going to be really good for turning those customers into brand advocates and a brand voice for you, and to continue that word of mouth that you can utilize via social media. So now that we've thought about our goal, we've decided what platform we're going to be on. Now we need to make sure that our messaging and our social post etiquette is up to snuff. So we're going to start by telling users exactly what you want them to do. That seems silly. I know if I'm going to social media and I see a link to a website, inherently I know they want me to click on it. But time and time again, we've performed studies. We're accessing studies from HubSpot, Sprout Social on a regular basis. And anytime you can directly tell the user what you want them to do, there is a likelier chance of a conversion. Facebook, for example, here, I'm utilizing their example because we have some good studies from them. Any brand that adds the call to action button to their profile inherently sees a 75% increase in conversions from their social media page. That's absolutely huge. So the button that we're talking about is the blue Contact Us button that you see in the middle of the screen. There's a bunch of options that are default options that you can utilize that for. It can be call us today, it can be a contact, it can be a link to the website. There are quite a few options in there. Utilize whatever fits your brand best. We also want to encourage you to turn on direct messaging if you have the capability to facilitate those interactions. Whether you're on LinkedIn or Twitter, they also offer direct messaging options. It's a setting that you can choose within your profile, whether you're willing to accept those or not. But if somebody sees a social post from you, is viewing your profile, and wants to contact you, not having to leave the platform that they're already in is a very welcoming way for you to start that conversation, get somebody potentially in the door, and you can always transition that once you've started that connection into email, into a phone call, whatever your preferred method of communication is, that's no problem. But giving them the opportunity to start that in what feels like a low risk opportunity because they're already using Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter is a great way for you to start establishing those new relationships. Also thinking about available calls to action. Within your specific posts, there are multiple points where you can include a call to action. The first is in your copy. You want it to feel natural within the text. You want it to feel organic, and we don't need every single post to say, click here or like my post. We don't want to go that far, but we want to inherently tell them what you want them to do. Read more, learn more, watch this video for 5 tips, whatever it might be, whatever your call to action is, there's a way for us to work that into the post copy and really help people understand what action you want them to take. Telling them what to do, you're going to get them there faster. You're going to get those improved metrics that you want to see. Other areas that are sometimes forgotten about from a call to action perspective is the imagery. We have done tons of tests at Blue Compass looking at imagery. And anytime we can have text on the image in what looks like a button, we are seeing better results. Especially we're getting more clicks back to our website. We're getting more interactions with those posts because people, it's been ingrained in us since we've started using the internet. When you see a button, you know you want to click on it. And there's ways for you to add that into your specific social posts, even without putting advertising behind it, and just utilize those images to the best of your ability. The last call to action point, this is a LinkedIn post example. So I did this while I was typing a post in. If you paste a link into your LinkedIn post, you're going to have the option to edit the associated collateral. So you're going to be able to edit the image that's in here like we just talked about. You can also edit the title and the description that would appear right under it. So editing that title is going to give you the option to put a direct call to action in bold copy with your post. That's an awesome way if you were able to work it into the post copy up top a little bit more organically. Telling them to click here for these actionable things that are going to help them is a great way to continue that call to action and have it work throughout the entire post. As you're continuing to utilize those call to actions, you're really telling everybody what you want them to do, what actions you want them to take. We're going to encourage you to continue leveraging your post copy, your shares, your messaging based on your network and your contacts. So why do we want to do that? We teased the algorithm a little bit a few moments ago, but the algorithm at the end of the day is what is going to help your post show up in somebody's newsfeed. So it's important to understand how it works and important to understand how you can use that to your advantage. So we're going to start with LinkedIn. The LinkedIn algorithm has two core components. First is the people you know. So the people you are connected to. Unfortunately, LinkedIn's smarter than we like to give them credit for. So if you have your contacts connected, they can also see who you're connected to, even if you're not connected to them in the LinkedIn platform. But they are going to prioritize your personal connections and your relationships. So another question we frequently get is, how is LinkedIn able to establish those relationships? It's whose media and whose posts are you commenting on, spending time on. If Bryce and I were connected and I regularly once a week went to check what is his activity or what was he commenting on this week, and I too was engaging with that, LinkedIn's then going to prioritize him in my news feed because it's someone who I'm regularly connecting with within the LinkedIn platform. The second half of the LinkedIn algorithm is in regards to things you care about. So this is something that you have an affinity towards, whether it's a group that you're involved in, whether it's media you regularly consume, or the people and pages that you're following on the LinkedIn platform. So there's tons of ways that LinkedIn is gathering this data, all the way down to what videos am I watching while I am in the platform, what website links am I most willing to click on and then consume the media before coming back into the LinkedIn platform. All of those things are signals to LinkedIn on what I'm engaging with, how I'm interacting, not to mention the actual comments, likes, celebrates. There's tons of engagement options within a LinkedIn post itself. So all of those are factors for the LinkedIn algorithm. So we want to start thinking about what is your customer and what is your target audience consuming and doing on social media. We really like to encourage you to find a couple of your prime clients. Like if you could copy and paste one of your clients and create another version of them, what is that specific person doing on LinkedIn? What groups are they in? What types of content are they interacting with? And that's how you're going to be able to frame what your personas and your social media audiences are utilizing and doing. That's the type of content you're going to want to start interacting with, start sharing, and that's going to help you start showing up more often in their news feeds as well. So you can utilize all of this information about the algorithm to get you in front of your potential customers. The Twitter algorithm has four main components. The first is recency. So how recently was a tweet published? This is a factor on Twitter much more than it is on LinkedIn. LinkedIn things can be showing up a week, a month later, and still be at the top of a newsfeed if it has the correct engagement and other factors that we just talked about for LinkedIn. But Twitter does need to be a little bit more frequent, a little bit more regular for it to be showing up at the top of a newsfeed when somebody opens their Twitter account. To balance that out though, luckily most Twitter users are more active and involved in the platform. They're opening it multiple times a day instead of once a week or once a day. So it's easier to catch people with that recency on the Twitter platform than it is on LinkedIn. The next up is engagement. So how many retweets, clicks, favorites, video views, impressions, all of those engagement factors, reshares, everything has a tweet had, and does the account have historically. So if your tweets are regularly top performers, you're getting a lot of engagements, there's comments, there's conversations back and forth around them, your tweet, even when it's first posted, is more likely to surface at the top of a news feed. So it's always important to have as much engagement as you can to help funnel into the Twitter algorithm. Next up is rich media. Twitter wants people to enjoy spending time in their newsfeed and enjoy spending time on their platform. So they are encouraging users to include images, videos, GIFs, all of those rich media elements into their tweets. Twitter also announced that they are starting to consider and will most likely add emojis as one of their rich media options into their algorithm, given the popularity and the performance of tweets with emojis in them. And then the last piece is activity. So based on a user's activity, who are they interacting with most? What accounts are they following? What accounts are they regularly going to their profile to view, look at, etc. So we want to make sure that your profile page is fully filled out, and anytime that it makes sense, you're giving people those opportunities like we just talked about to direct message, reach out to you, get back to your website, all of that from your profile itself. So how else can we leverage your contacts, leverage the network that you already have established on any of these platforms? This is a LinkedIn post example, but the principles we're going to talk about apply to Twitter or Facebook or most other social platforms as well. We really want to encourage you to tag other accounts anytime it's relevant. This is an example where one of our team members, Stephanie, was tagged in a social post. They also tagged our office, Blue Compass, and our brand. And this post had triple the engagements that this individual normally has on their social post because she tagged Stephanie. Stephanie then started a conversation on there. She was so appreciative to be tagged in this. Blue Compass was proud of having Stephanie work here. So Blue Compass also commented on it, and it started this domino effect of additional users who are seeing this now. Anybody who's connected to Blue Compass would inherently see this because we were tagged in it. Anybody who's connected to Stephanie has a better chance to see this because they were tagged in this. So this is a great tactic to get your message in front of additional clients and in front of additional social media users who might not follow you. It's also a great way to spread goodwill in the community. So how can you apply this? If you're working with anybody else in the financial community, if you are partnering with an organization, if there's any community involvement, giving back, anything like that, great ways to interact, tag other businesses, personal brands, and individuals within your social posts. We always see better engagements and better interactions when other users are tagged because the immediate scope of who can see this in their newsfeed has doubled by tagging another account. Other ways that you can engage with your audience. Find somebody who you want to make sure you're staying top of mind for. Once you go to that person's profile, this is in LinkedIn, for example, but the same concept can apply in Twitter. You can scroll down and you can see their activity. So once I've seen that, I'm looking at Drew's profile here, I can see his activity. I can see the last thing he did was share a post about boosting your website's SEO. I can go to that post and I can comment on it. I can like it. I can celebrate it, any of those engagements. And Drew's now going to get a notification that has my name on it and has my comment or whatever I did to engage with this post. If I'm doing this once a week, twice a week, we don't want to get to the point where we're doing it every day. That might be a little too much. That might be overkill. But even if it's once a month, staying in front of a potential customer, they are going to have you in the back of their mind when they are ready to purchase your products or services or are in need of contacting you. Your name will be fresher in their memory. And that's a great tactic to continue driving those relationships and to continue keeping your name out there from a brand awareness perspective. Other options are to start conversations. If we can see Drew's commenting on a post about US search awards, going in there and having another conversation within that post, commenting on something that's not necessarily his, but that he's involved in, he's still going to see that activity. He's still going to see my interaction with that because he's up further in the comments. So this is a great way, again, to organically keep you in front of a potential customer. A secondary benefit that comes from these interactions and these engagements is the more you interact with somebody, we just talked about both the LinkedIn and the Twitter algorithm, the easier it is for their content to be showing up in your newsfeed. So you'll hit a point in time where if you've done this regularly, you won't need to go seek out their profile, their latest comments, their latest posts are going to be showing up in your feed, and you're going to be able to access that and work with that right away from your newsfeed. Number 5 on our list today is making conversation-worthy content. Both of the algorithms want people interacting, want people engaging. Facebook has that. Other social media platforms have that as well. So how can we really develop that conversation and create content that sparks more interactions and more engagements? We're going to get beyond just asking a question. That's one of the most common ways we can do that, but just asking a question and not having the right timing, not having the right message is not going to lead to a post that is well engaged with or well utilized. Especially with all of the COVID marketing that's been happening and the outbreak that we've seen, social media has taken a completely different turn. So we have all seen those brands that did a terrible job. They had to walk back their message. They might not have been as understanding or as politically correct as they needed to be with their message. We've all seen that happen, and that's when you're going to have an incompetent social post. We've seen those. You cringe a little bit and say that they really missed the mark, and we want to make sure we're avoiding that. So we want to make sure that you're thinking about everything you're talking about, everything you're posting about. What is the conversation that could be had here, and does this message match what I'm trying to personify as I'm posting on social media? Next up, we have competent posts. So we're talking, we had good post copy here. We're probably linking back to a good resource. We included an image or we did a video or something like that. It doesn't have to be super high quality, but we're giving them something else to go off of besides just the social post we have here. And that's a good post, but we want to take that to the next level. We want a really skilled post. So not only are we talking about having good copy, linking back to a good resource, but we probably included something that really got their wheels turning, that started that conversation, that got people going, whether that was asking a question, whether that was sharing your personal opinion about a relevant and newsworthy article. You can really get conversations started, even if the blog or the content that you're sharing is not originally from you. Next up, we're talking about a truly excellent post where it showed up at the right time, it had the right messaging, and most of those posts are going to have something that is timely in it. Whether we're talking about the last couple weeks was a perfect time to talk about going back to school. Even if you're not, we don't need to be selling school supplies, we don't need to be selling lunch boxes, nothing like that. But as we're talking about going back to school, it's relatable for our target audience. Everybody's in that mindset right now, so that's something that we could capitalize on with social media. Right now, we're probably moving past that a little bit, but looking into the next 3 months, these are some of the best months of the year to start on social media and to really have that timely, excellent, really hit the mark content. We're approaching Thanksgiving. Talking about being thankful in any way, shape, or form in the month of November is a perfect way to capitalize on that sentiment that people have around Thanksgiving. We have Christmas coming up. Everybody is more sentimental, a little bit more emotional around the holiday season, and we can utilize that within our social posts. New Year's, people are looking for a fresh start. They're looking for something new, more financial security, all of that, and we are walking into the perfect time for that. So thinking about what else is happening in the calendar, what else is happening in the environment, whether the markets that you're working in have snow. We're going to talk about a fun post that one of our team members did last year on our first snowfall. There's always a way that you can tie into what's happening in the here and now and make your post really hit the mark as you're sharing it on social media. So number 6 here is really leveraging social media ads. Whether you have a large budget or not, there are ways that you can utilize that money to the best of your ability and really take advantage of everything that the platform offers. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about LinkedIn and Twitter advertising and just give you a couple tips and tricks to spend less money and get more results. So this is a screenshot from LinkedIn. When you are first creating an ad, they have a wizard that walks you through everything. It gives you step-by-step instructions. It tells you what everything means. They really make the platform easy to access and easy to use the first time. But some of our best tips for advertising is think about those goals again. So we talked about our goals. We talked about the metrics that we wanted to accompany and associate with those goals. And this is where we're going to be able to really make those shine. So at Blue Compass, we have a policy that we do not do brand awareness for any of our paid advertising. We could have a goal of brand awareness. We could want more eyes. We could want to get our message out there, but we're not willing to pay for impressions or pay for brand awareness. We can pay for website clicks. We can pay for engagements. We can pay for new followers, for video views. LinkedIn even has a lead generation option where you can build a short form. You can get pre-qualifying information. So if you need household income, if you need level of education, if you need any information like that, zip code, whatever that might be, you can even get that through a form and only pay when somebody fills that out and meets your unique criteria. So LinkedIn is an awesome opportunity for advertising to really get you the users that you're interested in and that you need. This is also an area where social media provides you with opportunities that more traditional marketing might not. If you are dropping a mailer, if you are running a radio ad, you're paying for potential impressions. Where with social media, we're able to say, I only want to pay if somebody gets back to my website, or I only want to pay if somebody interacts with my post and comments or likes it. And that would be our engagements option here. So tons of great options to really hone in on when you're going to spend money on social media. The flip side of that is you get all of those other interactions for free. So if we were to choose for this specific post to pay for website visits only, if somebody likes my post, if somebody sees it but doesn't interact with it at all, if they watch the video, well, we wouldn't have a video in here because we're getting clicks back to the website. But if they interact in any other way, comment, celebrate, anything like that, we don't need to pay for that interaction. We only pay if they click back to the website. LinkedIn has very advanced tracking, so they know the website's not only going to be clicked on, but it's going to load. Somebody can't hit the back button immediately and not have the page load. And that's a really good use of those dollars instead of just paying for impressions. The other nice thing about LinkedIn is LinkedIn is the only platform on social media right now that has a direct need to know your level of income. And that is because LinkedIn is used for hiring, for job applications and things like that. So it is something that is connected to a lot of people's profiles. Therefore, LinkedIn is allowed to use that for targeting. Household income, income brackets, everything like that is something that has been taken off in the last year and a half from Facebook, Twitter, and other social media platforms because it did not fit an exact need. Based on laws, compliance, regulations that social media platforms have to follow, it did not serve the public in the way that it needed to, so they have been required to take it down. But since that is directly tied into LinkedIn's applications and business opportunities, you can still target by household income and budget within the LinkedIn platform. So that is a leg up that LinkedIn definitely has. There are also a lot of cool other targeting options within the LinkedIn platform, from job title, the industry they work in. My personal favorite is that you can target based on groups that they're actively involved in. So if you have quite a few potential customers that are all active within 1 to 15 LinkedIn groups, you're able to either paste the URL of that LinkedIn group or search it within the search field here, and you're able to target anybody who is an active participant within that group. And that's a great way to start showing up in their news feed, within their mobile notifications. You can even show up in the direct messages area with a different ad format. And that's a great way to get in front of them without you even needing to be a member of that LinkedIn group. So awesome targeting options there, awesome ways for you to take advantage of those opportunities. Moving on to Twitter, we said don't discount Twitter. There's also great opportunities on Twitter. We talked a lot about making sure you're choosing the objective that not only makes sense for your post, but that's going to save you money, and you can do the exact same thing on Twitter. So website clicks is very common for us. We normally need to give people more information, especially on Twitter, than that 140 characters is going to allow. And Twitter ads and website links within our tweets is going to be a great way for us to do that. My favorite targeting option, and at Blue Compass, our favorite targeting option for Twitter is we can target our competitors. So we can grab their Twitter handles, put it in the follower lookalike section, which is the second one down here, and we can target somebody who we know is an active follower or potential client of our competition. We're very competitive people. There's nothing wrong with stealing some business from competitors, and this is an excellent way for us to get in front of them, know that they already have an interest or a need for our product or service, and then be able to snatch them up when they are in need of something because our brand has been in front of them more often than the account they're following. Moving into number 7 here, we want to measure results. Digital gives us an opportunity to really hone in on what's working, what's not working, and how is this going. We're not asking you to pull full-on reports. We're not asking for that, but consider looking through your feed, whether you're using LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, or another platform. Take a look at your recent posts that you've completed. What has performed the best and what ties into those goals that we were talking about earlier? If we had a post that got a ton of website clicks, what was different about that? What did we include in that call to action in the post copy? What did we include in that call to action within the website link and the title of the website? We have tons of options to look at. Did we have a better image for one of them? If one of them got more comments, did we ask a question? How did we phrase that copy? And what really drove the success of that post? From there, you're also able to look at analytics within the platforms. So this is a LinkedIn post, and whether you have a business account, a personal account, whether you're doing ads or not, you should be able to access this from desktop if you're looking at your LinkedIn feed. Again, business page or not, you have access to this. You're gonna have an option here that's gonna say show results. All you have to do is click on that, and then you're gonna be able to see how many impressions did I get, how many reactions, what was our click-through rate, did anybody comment on this, what are our stats here? And this is where you're gonna be able to start making some really good decisions based on how the post performed, what was in it, and what do we need to be considering. If you have a business page, you also have the opportunity to look at these detailed analytics. And from the analytics, we're able to see month-over-month comparisons. It's going to tell us exactly what post performed best. It's going to tell us, are we seeing more success with video views or website clicks? And it breaks down a ton of great information for us. In 2020, they've rolled something new out each quarter within the page analytics. So that's been super fun for us to watch this year. We know they're going to continue coming out with more stuff. And from a digital marketing perspective, and at Blue Compass, we're kind of nerdy. We always like to see where the data is putting us, and your time is valuable. So make sure that you're doing what works and you're capitalizing on something that's tried and true for your pages. You can also do the same thing within Twitter. Whether you're on your phone, on your desktop, once you open up one of your tweets, you're able to click on see results within that tweet as well. And that's going to tell you how many impressions do you have, how many total engagements did it get, and then it breaks it down into specific engagements so you can start making analytical decisions off of your post performance. You do not need to have advertising on this. You do not need to have a special type of account or anything to access this. You're able to just look at how is the post performing and what do I need to do best. This post, for example, was one where we tagged, it was from Blue Compass, we tagged 2 other social media accounts. So we knew we were going to have increased impressions from that. We also strategically used a couple hashtags within our post. And the point of using hashtags is to get in front of somebody who might not be following our brand, but is engaged in the conversation that is occurring behind that hashtag. Within Twitter, if you go to analytics.twitter.com, and this can again happen from a business account or from a personal account, you can get a ton of nerdy data. And I absolutely love this section of analytics. Could talk about this forever, but I don't want to bore you today. It's going to give you those comparisons. If you hover over anything in here too, Twitter does a great job of giving you definitions of what you need to know about each of these. If you have questions of what's all included in engagements, they break it down for you in there. They also give you the opportunity to go into their advertising platform straight from here. So if we have a post that's performing well or it's not performing as well as we want it to, we have opportunities to advertise on that and to really reach that audience and take that post to the next level. The nice thing about accessing Twitter advertisements from this section is it's going to walk you through exactly what the steps are. It'll tell you exactly how to put your ad together, what their best practice recommendations are. So we like, if you're going to dip your toes into Twitter advertising for the first time, look at analytics first, access it from there, and it's a lot easier. Facebook also has opportunities for you to look at this. So within Facebook, if you click on the likes and comments that you've started to receive, you're able to pop out this side window here, and this is going to tell you the exact number of engagements that you have. This was a looping 3-second video. They're telling us exactly how many video views we had, how many reactions and shares. Our favorite part of this is we can also see if somebody shared our post, how many interactions did that get? Because that's something that's not always captured in the basic information that you get within your engagements. We can also see negative feedback. So if somebody didn't like it, if they hit our post from their feed, all of that's available within the Facebook information once we click on that, again, from a business page or from a personal page. And then Facebook Business Manager has a ton of insights. If you want to take your Facebook performance to the next level, we really consider utilizing business.facebook.com, which is the entryway to Business Manager. There is a lot of advertising opportunities in there. The analytics in there are something that you can't see without that. And it really helps you. Anything you need from Facebook, you can message them directly. If your ad isn't working, there's a ton of good options in that business.facebook.com if Facebook's the platform that you're planning to go off of. All right, so our last tip today is to truly have fun and be yourself. The best social posts are usually the posts that weren't planned and overthought. It's something that was off the cuff. It might not have the best quality image. It might be a video that was shot from an iPhone, but it's real. It shows your personality. And at the end of the day, we all need to remember people enjoy doing business with people they like. So how can we get your personality out there? How can we get your brand to show why somebody would want to work with you besides the business benefits? Besides that, how can we make you a person that somebody wants to interact with at the end of the day? So this is an example from our president. This was not planned. Somebody in our office bet our CEO and one of our other coworkers, Stephanie, to go outside and do a snow angel on the first snow of last year, 2019. And this post was not vetted by anybody, didn't even use punctuation if we're being honest, but Drew capitalized on this. He put hashtag snow in there and tweeted it on the first day of snow within Des Moines. And this was one of his best performing posts by the end of the year for the entire year. And he is very active on the platform. And somebody from ABC News actually reached out to Drew and asked if they could come in, do an interview in our office and utilize that video in the news broadcast. So again, it's not something, everything we want to go viral from the marketing side. We spend hours planning campaigns sometimes, but it's the stuff that's off the cuff and it's the stuff that really truly shows your personality that's going to perform best. Other examples, this is one of our posts from Blue Compass. We were all eating lunch. It was super, super hot that day, so we went in the shade. We were still trying to be 6 feet apart from each other because it was during Corona, and we needed to be safe and keep our office healthy at the same time. So this is not a high quality picture by any means, but it got a good number of interactions. People were commenting that they enjoyed seeing our smiling faces again. They loved the Street Eats food truck that was in the back. Unfortunately, they didn't have a LinkedIn account. Otherwise, we would have tagged them like we talked about moments ago. But don't be afraid to just show what's happening, show your day-to-day, show what's happening in your office or as you're working from home too. We've been having adventures every day, whether we're in the office, at home. Did the dog literally eat your notebook or your homework or something like that? That's a work from home adventure that everybody can relate to right now. Was there some kids flying in the background while you were trying to have a Zoom call? Anything like that is relatable, it's personable, and it's a way for you to show your personality, show your family, show what you're all about, while still having fun, being timely, hitting those relevancy things that we talked about before, and really capitalize on the social platform like we talked about. So as we wrap up today, please remember assets from today's presentation. We also have a handout which is available in the handout section of GoToWebinar, as well as for download on bluecompass.com/improve-social. If you have questions about like what character counts do I need to do, what are industry best practices for image sizes, all of that is in the PDF download and they're really easy to read. It's actually set up like a social post. So we would love for you to access that for your future use. And then if you have any specific questions, if you'd like to interact with Blue Compass more, if you have any questions that we can help you with, please reach out to us at dharden@bluecompass.com.
Katrina, thank you very much. That was very informative. Really appreciate the time you spent. I do know that we got quite a few questions that came in. Cassie, would you mind maybe kind of going through some of those questions? Because I think some of them might be good for everybody to hear Katrina's answers to.
Sure, Bryce. One of the first questions we got was, what is the best time of day to post on social media?
That is a great question. Unfortunately, there's no one given answer. I think if you look at HubSpot, they try to preach that like Tuesdays around 11 is the best time to post on social media, but we throw that out the window because everybody then tries to post at Tuesdays at 11. And so that's not going to help if everybody else is doing it. we like you to think about, what is my target audience doing? Like, what are they literally doing in their day-to-day life? And that's going to help you understand when they're going to be accessing social media. If you are looking for parents who might be picking their kids up from school, if they are sitting in the carpool line to pick up the kids, they're probably spending some time on their phone while they're waiting in the parking lot, waiting for kids to come out. So if school ends at 3:30, if school ends at 4:30, that's a great time for you to put your post out there, start getting those interactions with them. At Blue Compass, for example, we see a lot of our target audience is online at night. Finishing up the day, the kids are in bed, we're trying to get a couple things done, we're winding down for the day. On social media, anytime after 7 p.m. So we schedule our posts, even if they're not paid, you have the option to schedule in almost every social platform. You can schedule it for later in the evening. It goes out at 7, it starts to pick up traction around 7:30, and by 8 o'clock, we've hit our peak engagements with a social post for our brand specifically. So figuring out what they're doing and how you can find them at that time.
Awesome. Another question we had is, if I have a personal LinkedIn page, do I need a business LinkedIn account?
Another really good question. You do not specifically need a business LinkedIn account unless you want to take advantage of those extra analytics or take advantage of the advertising opportunities that are available. Then we do recommend moving into that business page. There are a lot of added benefits from that, from how you can connect to other platforms, how you can utilize extra call to action buttons, get your website more visibility, all of that on a business page. And we frequently get questions about, like, I've built up a good audience on my personal LinkedIn, I'm afraid to lose that. You will not lose that if you move over to a business page and you utilize your audience correctly. So as you start sharing your first couple posts from your business page, reshare that from your personal page. Your entire audience and the network you've already built on your personal page can now follow that. They can get those impressions. You can get those visitors from your personal page migrated into that business page as well. And they'll know when to expect more of that work and business information versus your personal fun side on your personal page.
That's great, Katrina. Let's see here. Which is the best social media platform for insurance? Is it Facebook or LinkedIn?
For insurance, we truly recommend LinkedIn. That trust factor that comes with LinkedIn is important when we're talking about insurance and other financial products and services as well. So we would recommend LinkedIn. People are used to hearing information about insurance and finances as well on LinkedIn a little bit more often than they are on Facebook. So not only do you have a more captive audience that's already ready for the information that you're looking for, but they immediately trust the information coming out of the platform more when it's from LinkedIn than it is from Facebook.
Great. Another question here is, can I or should I delete bad comments or reviews from my social profiles?
We get that one a lot, and a lot of people's gut reaction is, I want it out of here. I don't want people to be able to see it, but we recommend leaving them up and responding to them. So first of all, why do we want to leave that up? Honestly, it's 2020. A lot of people are acquiring reviews, whether it's on Google, on social platforms, Better Business Bureau, there's tons of places that you can get reviews. But if somebody has a ton of reviews and they're all 5-star and there's no one with any negative information, it almost feels false. Like you just have a question mark on that. We want you to have good reviews. 4.9 stars, perfect, because it means 1 or 2 people had something to say, and that's the way the internet works these days. So don't be afraid of a couple bad reviews. Other things that you can do with a bad review is turn it into a learning experience or a learning opportunity for other customers. So addressing that person by name in your comment back so it feels very personal is important. Other things that you can do is try to take that conversation offline, whether you're talking about insurance, whether you're talking about financial health, anything like that. You probably can't have much of that conversation in a public social media platform anyways. So giving them an avenue to reach out to you, whether it's a phone call, whether it's a web form that they can submit, anything like that, an email even, is a great way to take that conversation offline to show that you care about this person's concern and this person's need. And then you can usually turn that into a good experience as well.
Awesome. Let's see here. Is boosting posts on Facebook an effective strategy?
If you are utilizing Facebook as one of your primary social media platforms, absolutely. Facebook is the most paid to play social media platform that's out there. So if that is the avenue you're going, we do recommend including boosted posts or promoted posts. Couple quick facts about that. Boosting a Facebook post is what you're going to do if you're already on your page and you have that boost option in the corner. We just want to warn you that the targeting options that you're going to get from there are approximately 10% of the targeting options that you can have within Business Manager. So if you would like more access to interests, demographics, likes, geography, there's a whole host of options that you can have if you're utilizing Business Manager. So I would say if you're going to pay to advertise on Facebook, consider looking into the Business Manager platform. There's blogs out there that walk you through how to utilize the platform, what targeting options you can consider. Reaching out to Drew, we have some best practice guides as well that can help with that. So consider the promoted post side of it instead of just boosting from your feed, just because you can get a lot better access to quality targeting instead of the basic 30 miles around the zip code.
Great. Let's see here. Are there any new social media accounts that I should be on? Do I need to have TikTok or Snapchat?
We get that question very often. Unless your target audience is millennials specifically, we do not think you need to be on TikTok. We do not think you need to be on Snapchat. And honestly, even if you're targeting millennials, we can find them somewhere else that is easier to advertise on and easier to sustain. TikTok and Snapchat are very useful if you have the short videos, but that does not necessarily align with the insurance or the financial professional environment that you guys are really looking for. We can reach all of those users on one of the platforms we've talked about today, and the news from you guys will be more receptive on these other platforms. When somebody's on one of the video-based platforms, so I'm going to encompass both TikTok and Snapchat with that, they are there to watch videos. They are not there to learn about anything else. They are not there to go read an article. So we're better off utilizing your information and your time on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter.
Great. How many of my posts should be my own original content versus reshared content?
We encourage resharing content, whether that's a true share in the platform or finding a local company's article about something that's relevant to your industry and sharing that with your own commentary. We recommend doing that at least 51% of the time. If somebody's coming to you and they're feeling constantly bombarded or sold to, or like you're only hammering your agenda into your social posts, they are not going to be as likely to engage with you, interact with you, or follow you on whatever platform we're talking about. So sharing that other content as much as possible is a great way to add some diversity, show that you are up to date on the latest industry trends, that you're supporting fellow people in the industry or fellow accounts in the industry, and it's going to set you apart based on the content you're providing and the expertise you're able to give via those avenues as well.
Awesome. Looks like I have one other question here, and I actually want to know the answer to this one, so I'm going to ask it. What is the purpose of using a lot of hashtags, and what's the difference between a hashtag and the @ symbol?
Excellent questions. I'm going to start with the hashtag versus the @ symbol. The @ symbol is going to tag another account or another page directly. So you could tag Blue Compass on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and that is going to notify everyone in our organization that we were tagged in a post. You can do that with individuals, you can do that with business pages, anybody who has an account on whatever platform you're utilizing. So the benefit of that is you are increasing the potential people who could see you, because not only does someone need to follow you now, but they could follow the other brand that you have tagged. So you've essentially doubled the reach that you could get with that post by tagging somebody else. The hashtags are utilized to enter a conversation that is already occurring about that topic or the keywords that are included in that hashtag. I have two different answers here today. So on Twitter, we do recommend including 1 or 2 industry relevant or post relevant hashtags within your tweet. You don't want to go overboard putting more than 2 in there. People can get distracted. They can start clicking on hashtags instead of focusing on your message. and it just gets too cluttered. But 1 to 2 hashtags is a great way to enter a conversation. If somebody is following that hashtag or utilizing that hashtag, they can now see your content, even if they've never heard of you or didn't know that your account existed. So it's a great way to increase those impressions, increase the reach that you can have. Twitter also includes hashtags within their algorithm. So if you are utilizing a hashtag, you're automatically getting one of those rich media bumps that we talked about when we talked about the algorithm. On LinkedIn, on the other hand, it is an aggregate of conversations around a specific topic, but LinkedIn has not included hashtags into their algorithm yet. So because you are not getting a boost from that, we don't necessarily recommend utilizing hashtags as often on LinkedIn unless you're truly trying to participate in an active conversation that's occurring within that hashtag. But more often than not, we see them being more distracting or not quite as helpful on the LinkedIn side.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's the end of our time. I know there's still some questions coming in, so I will encourage everybody, if you do have a specific question you want to make sure you have answered, I guess depending on what it is, you've got a couple different avenues to go to. First, you can go to our experts, which is Blue Compass, which is Katrina, and you see the email below, dharden@bluecompass.com. They will be more than happy to engage with you and answer some of your questions. In addition to that, if you do have a product or a financial services related question as it comes to North American, please feel free to reach out to your regional sales director, your sales vice president, whoever you work with here in the North American offices. So with that, I do want to thank everybody for spending some time with us today. I want to thank Katrina for your expertise and sharing it with us. And I hope that everyone has a great rest of your day. And please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.
Thank you.